Hello, today I wanted to show you how you can do a really cool trick in your Thermomix by steaming your bread rolls in the Varoma while you're cooking a soup below. And I'm going to use, today I'm going to use the spiced Moroccan lentil soup as my example soup. You can do this with any soup. So I am going to turn the camera over to our Thermomix so that you can see what I'm doing along the way. So I'm going to press start cooking. I have an onion here, just one whole brown onion. Going in. Press next. It asks you for the lid. Always tells you to put your lid on. It won't work without that. And it's telling me to turn to speed 5 for 3 seconds. Okay, I'm going to press next and show you what we have here. Beautiful onions chopped perfectly. That's telling me to scrape down, so I'll just quickly give it a quick scrape. All right, carrying on here. Adding some oil. Oh, I was holding the Thermomix. Now, something I love about the Thermomix are the scales, because you can weigh in 1 gram increments. Just grab your ingredients straight out of the pantry and pour in. So you can see it going up there. It's slow. I have a very slow olive oil drizzler, so it takes a few seconds. That's okay. I just have one of those kind, so that's what I use. Pop the lid on, press next, and we are going. So as you can see, this says that we've got 3 minutes while the onion sautés. I'm going to show you a little trick here of what I do in that 3 minutes so I can multitask. Press these 3 dots and come here to, I need you to be able to see it. Yes, recipe detail. And you can go back and have a look at what's next. So I can go to my pantry and grab these next ingredients while my onion is sauteing. So I think that is pretty cool. So I've already done that today. I'll show you, I've got all my spices here, so they're going to go in next. But what I can do in this time is get my bread rolls ready. So I have my dough that's been rising here in my Thermomat. So I did this about an hour ago. I made this dough. And I just followed the basic bread recipe from the basic cookbook. So I milled some wheat grain first and then added in, it's only 5 main ingredients: your water, yeast, oil, salt, and your flour. And your flour can be any ratio of, it can just be 100% white, or it can be a mixture of wholemeal or milled grains, whatever you want. So I am just getting the dough off my Thermomix here. As you can see, my dough is a bit sticky, but the mat is non-stick, so it does peel off quite nicely. Okay. So I am going to roll my rolls into little balls and place them in my Varoma. Before I do that, I'll just oil my Varoma a little. Just with a little bit of olive oil, spread that around everywhere. Oh, that's not enough. I have done this without bothering to oil and it worked fine, but I thought I'd follow the recipe today. This is a tip I got many years ago from Quirky Cookie, and I can share that link with you where she shares the tips on how to do this. But basically it's just, she says to do 10 rolls. It wouldn't matter how many you did. It's just to get some little rolls. So really roughly portioning out here. And I will, yep, that looks good. And I'm really rustic. You can make them look perfect if you want, but I don't. I just roll it up and put it in the Varoma. So some might be a little bit bigger than others, and that is okay as well. I'm just going to do 4 down the bottom. You know what? You can do them all up the top as well if you want. They probably would all fit in a tray. but it doesn't actually matter. So this is really cool. You don't need to turn on the oven while you are wanting rolls to go with your soup. And if the texture ends up being soft, as you can imagine being steamed. Once they cool for a minute or two, the outside does slightly go a bit harder. But if you want them to be crispy, you could just put them under the grill for a minute. But to dip in soup, soft is great. Like, it's not what you're used to, but if you think about the fact that you're just dipping it in your soup anyway, it's quite good. So there's my rolls ready. I'll set that aside and carry on with this recipe. Get my mat out of the way. So now we'll just carry on with the rest of this recipe. So it's telling me to press next. So basically the onion has just been sauteing in there. And now it's asking me to add all the spices. I've got them all in this bowl. So it's ginger, coriander, cumin, paprika, pepper, cinnamon, turmeric, chili powder, and nutmeg. I'm pretty sure that's the last one. Yeah. And if you don't like one of those spices or don't have one, it's okay to leave one out. I have left out the chili tonight. There is enough spice in all the rest of them to add a really great depth of flavor. But if you do put them all in, the flavor is amazing. It just creates like all these layers. So that is to mix for another 1 minute. And then it's adding the rest of the ingredients and it cooks for 20 minutes. So this is the type of soup that's really super quick and easy as long as you have the ingredients. And everything is just from the pantry because I'm going to use tinned tomatoes. The spices are from the pantry, and then the lentils as well, which I don't use lentils very often in cooking, but I always have a bag in the pantry ready to go for when I want to make something. The dal is really good as well from the basic cookbook. So that recipe and this one are probably the only 2 lentil recipes I've done, but that's probably just me. So the other thing I want to show you, which is awesome, is our vegetable stock paste. This is something you make in your Thermomix. It's just vegetables, herbs, salt, and a bit of oil. And it makes a container like that big. It's probably just under a litre worth. And you can keep it in the fridge or freezer for months. And each time you need to make something that has stock in it, you just grab a spoon out. And it just flavors your recipe so nicely. But then you know, because you've made the stock, 100% of your meal is homemade by you, which is just awesome for anyone who cares about additives. I'm just going to show you, hopefully you can see, but just how those spices have mixed in really nicely with the onion. So it's asking me now for some water. So just pour that in. It's always good to slow down when you get close because the scales do catch up a bit. There we go. That'll do, because I don't want to go over. It's asking me now for the stock paste, which I just explained about. Yum, yum, yum. And you can vary the vegetables that go in that as well, which is another great thing about it. And just the lentils going in. These are red split lentils, so they cook really fast. There's no need to soak these ahead of time. So, yeah, 100 grams of that. Oh, and in go our tomatoes. So I am just using canned. If you wanted to, you could use fresh if you wanted to. It's totally up to you. Doesn't matter. I didn't have those pre-opened. Okay, so that's going in. Asks for the lid. Now, this time it says to insert the measuring cup and to cook for 20 minutes. 100 degrees reverse, speed 1. I will get that going, but remember we wanted to steam our rolls. So I'm actually taking off my measure cup here, and I'm going to sit the Varoma just on top, remembering to add our Varoma lid. So I'm going to pause the recording now, and in 20 minutes I'll come back and show you we have yummy, healthy soup ready for a cold winter's night with some steamed rolls to dip in. Okay, the soup is pretty well ready. It's about to time, and I want to show you the rolls. I'm excited to show you. You have to bear in mind they don't look like oven-baked rolls because they're not oven-baked rolls. But when you're taking the lid off the Varoma, just be careful to, I want you to see this, there we go. Just be careful to, usually you're in front of it, so if I move it this way, it's in front of me. I just open it this way so that the water and the steam, like not water, the steam doesn't go in my face, but so that the water doesn't go on the rolls. So I'm going to do it quite quickly like this. Yeah, see that? And if you put that upside down on your bench, then you can place your Varoma down like that. Now the soup is looking delicious. So I'm going to pour the soup into my thermoserver. This is our double insulated stainless steel bowl that keeps our food hot for a few hours. So it's really awesome. That's one of our host reward options. But I've got our soup here ready. You can see it's like, I don't want to pour it obviously on the computer, but I wanted to show you the volume. If I pour that onto my spatula, it's not going to splatter everywhere when I pour that in. Minimal anyway. Looking good. So that's our soup. Beautiful. You can't even see it. I'm gonna like put that down there. There you go. Spiced Moroccan lentil soup. And if I pour myself some of that soup, I'll get 2 scoops. Then I would just top it with some coriander, fresh coriander, so that you've got some nice herbs on there. I'll show you that in a second. But I want to show you these rolls. I'm going to just point the camera down. Oh yeah, so you can see the soup. Lovely. Now these rolls, I just, before the 20 minutes ended, I did just poke in and make sure they were cooked properly, and that's one of the tips. So I already, I'm just going to use my tongs. I already pulled apart one, but I'm going to pull apart this one so you can see. You see that? I just pulled apart really nicely, and you can see the inside texture is nice and fluffy and soft. If I put that on my plate, I do want to show you the texture on the inside, if I can find a knife. They are hot, so I need to be careful. And already, it's only been a minute, like by the time I've poured out my soup, already the outside of the rolls has, they're still soft, they're not crispy, but it's not doughy, it's like nice, and you can see the inside texture there. It just kind of pulls apart nicely like a nice roll ready to dip into our soup. Okay, so thanks for watching. I hope that was helpful. I think it's really awesome to steam rolls without having to turn the oven on, especially if you're already having soup for dinner anyway.